Hi guys, welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And today I'm just going to talk about something that I really have kind of avoided talking about on my channel for an extensive period of time, other than like, I guess, casual mention or whatever. And that is the show One Piece, or the manga One Piece. I never read the manga really. I mean, I guess I'm reading it now because I caught up with the show finally. But if you watch one of my recent videos where I talked about my struggle with dealing with things becoming outside like my locus of control kind of thing. One Piece has obviously always been popular, but until I got into like, BookTube, which expanded my online presence, it's really just been kind of a popular thing among the people that, like, I don't know, frequent the hobby shops or whatever, or, talk to my student Eric Yang about it last year and stuff like that. It's just been kind of a, I don't know, a local thing, at least for me, because I don't live in Japan and I don't hang around with a whole bunch of people who watch a whole bunch of manga. That was the kids that took Japanese with me when I was in college, and they all took Japanese because they wanted to learn how to, I guess, understand anime. And I was just like, man, guys, like, I'm a weeb, but I ain't this level of weeb. I'm just not gonna do it.
What? Do it now, you silly baka!
So it's I have, my wife will tell you that I have a larger attachment to nostalgia than most people do. So I have like a protectionist government around the things that I'm nostalgic for. Things like D&D, One Piece, old RPGs like, Final Fantasy VI or Shining Force, or, I don't know, crap that no one was really into back when I was into it, or whatever. And it's just largely because the older I get, the less I feel in control of anything. Though, like, the world changes. It's different from when I was younger. And I just kind of, like, as I've gotten more anxious and depressed, I remember, like, nostalgic times, and I feel better. As if I'm engaging in nostalgia, like, I feel better about things, because it, brings you back to a simpler time, or really just a time before I was quite as depressed and anxious. So yeah, so I don't really talk about it because also as you know, I hate being a trend follower. Like, I don't like being seen as someone who is following a trend and bandwagoning. And One Piece kind of got big on BookTube, and I hadn't really talked about it prior to that, and so I certainly wasn't going to talk about it after it did get big on BookTube, so people would see that people would think that I was a bandwagoner, and I am not a bandwagoner. I am many things, but I'm not a bandwagoner. But anyway, go watch the other video where I sit there and talk about what a terrible mindset I have, and I'm just a bad person in general, I guess. But I'm over it, and I'm going to talk about it because it's something that I enjoy. Don't worry, it's not going to be a large portion of my content. I'm finished with the series. There's not, like, I'm mostly caught up. I'm not going to do like a retrospective, but I do enjoy it. And I wanted to talk about, I was talking to Jimmy about kind of why it rankles me when everybody is, tromping upon my nostalgia. And part of it is just, it's not a show. It's a series of experiences for me. So I never read the manga. I always watched the show, and if you are aware, the show is over 1,000 episodes long. That is a lot of television shows. And so I started watching this in college because some friends that I was hanging out with were into it. And I was like, oh, Pirates, awesome. And I, watched some of it, and I've always liked the Japanese version of anime, not because the dub was bad, because I was never on, like, early in my life, I was never on the dub voices are bad, because, I used English voices in my RPGs. But I mostly watched the Japanese version of anime because, for some reason, the English would cut crap, and it was no worse than in, like, Sailor Moon, which is one of the first anime, I watched, along with Project A-ko, Robot Carnival, whatever was on sci-fi on, Saturday mornings, Dragon Ball Z. But it was so bad with Sailor Moon. They cut so much. Like, they censored and like, cut a bunch of stuff, especially, like, third season on. So that's where I learned that, this is, again, the dawn of the internet. That's where I learned that they cut crap out for the English. So I listened to Japanese whenever I could, Not because I thought the Japanese was better, but because I didn't want to miss content. But the Japanese is so much better for One Piece, and the seiyuu for the Japanese they're so good. Like, I have trouble reading it because I need to hear, especially Luffy's voice actress, do his lines. It's so good.
特に1ラウンド目が
俺に2つ出させろ。
分かってる考えてんだ静かにしろ
So that's where I started it, and then not gonna lie, I wrote a couple chapters of One Piece fan fiction. That's how into this I was. It was a Smoker X Tashigi, beginning of a romance fan fiction for those two characters. I know, right? Like, whatever. And then I went to a convention and I dressed up as Zoro. I cosplayed as Zoro. I guess I'll throw a picture up there if you haven't seen it, from the Arlong Park arc. And then I watched Alabasta, and Crocodile became one of my favorite characters, and just an excellent villain. And then my friends and I, we played the fighting game. The GameCube fighting game, One Piece, is so good. It's so good. And then, when Chopper wins using like a finisher, he goes, "Rawr, I'm also a pirate."
Roar! I'm also a pirate!
It's awesome. But where One Piece really became really important to me, there are two instances. One, in 2008, when I went to Japan to study for a semester, and I was terrified of homestay because my diet is bad, and in Japan it's rude to refuse things, but like our liaison was wonderful and informed them in advance so that they had stuff that I could eat. It was awesome. And my homestay dad would always be like, "Vegetable?" And I'm like, "No." And he would go, "Ha ha ha," because he thought he knew I didn't want vegetables, but he would offer it because he thought it was funny. And so I was super into One Piece. So I talked to his kids like about One Piece. He had like a middle schooler and then an elementary schooler. And when I left their homestay family, the kid, the middle schooler, gave me his Luffy alarm clock. And where is it? Where the crap is it? What the fwick? Oh, it's literally, I got it out already. It's right here. And I've had this since 2008. It doesn't have any batteries, but when it does, it's in Japanese. I can still tell what day it is and AM and PM. And it, when you press it, when it goes off, it goes now, and Luffy goes "Okido!" like he yells you to get up. So I've had this for forever, because a kid knew how much I really liked One Piece, and so he gave this to me. And this is one of my prized possessions. And it still works. Like, heck yeah, made in Japan. But then when I got out of college, I had a really close group of friends. We played D&D together, and two really good friends. I'm still really good friends with them. I just don't see them as much anymore because adult life. And this is one of the things where you hanker for nostalgia, because it was a time like before all of these freaking responsibilities that we have. But basically from Skypia on, and if you are a fan of One Piece and have watched the show, you know how far that is. From Skypia till the end of Dressrosa, we watched the entire thing together. Like, the three of us watched the whole show together. And it took a long time because, they would come over to my house and we would do something else. They came over to play games or whatever, and we like watch an episode or two before they left. Because it's only 40 minutes if you're skipping all the ads and stuff, and then the credits and theme song and stuff. And sometimes they'd come over and we watch like 10, 11, 12 episodes. And it was so much fun with my two friends, Matt and Macen. And we had such a blast doing that. We still talk to each other like using crap from the show, like Baka. That's our biggest one. There's a scene where Sanji and Zoro are always at each other's throats, but there's a scene where they both say Baka in like the most ridiculous ways, like Baka, 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 or whatever, and we do that. And if you've seen up through Dressrosa, the drippy nose guy, I guess the ace, like Doflamingo's like the mucus guy. If you've only read the manga, you have no idea how annoying this guy is. Because he's always calling for Doflamingo, going Dofi, nah, nah, and so had to adopt that. And so all I have to do to like raise Macon's hackles to make him like lose his mind is go Macen, nah, Macen, nah, because it sounds exactly like that. If you've seen the anime, it sounds exactly like that. In addition, every like Frankie's super, and it's not in the manga, but like when he's got the T, like instead of the cola, and he goes super flavor.
Super not flavored.
That's I have that on my phone. I have that clip on my phone that I've screenshotted. And so yeah, we would watch it and pick sides. Like we'd form teams. It's stupid crap. But you know, anytime anybody like Mucus guy would be like, oh boom, Macon, your team. Anybody terrible or hideous or have a crappy power, like you just like boom, Macon's team. Oh boom, Matt's team. I was assigned. What's his freaking name? The mud guy that starts off in Fishman Island. What is it? It starts with a C. What's his freaking name? Let me look it up. Mud guy. What's the guy's name? Caribou. Like, right? It's Caribou, right? I think it is. Hold on. Yeah, Caribou. Freaking Caribou's my team, sadly. Crying Princess of Fishman Island, Macon's team for sure. And it just brings back to a time where I hung out with my friends a lot. We didn't have a ton of responsibilities. You know, every other Saturday we would meet to play D&D, and we would play all day. And we just don't have that time anymore. And we just don't do these things anymore. And yeah, I watched Wano and Whole Cake Island after Dressrosa, but watching it alone is not the same thing. You don't, like, there is nothing like how edge of the seat we were glued through frickin' Marineford. Like, what? Oh man, what a thing to watch with your friends. And frickin' before that, Impel Down and Gambare! If you know, you know. Just choosing our favorite Straw Hats and divvying up the admirals. I am a Kainu, but I've since switched. I since called dibs on Fujitora. And my stupid buddy Macon wants Aokiji. Screw Aokiji, but he's really more like Kizaru. Kawaii desu ne.
Kawaii ne.
And part of the reason that the show is like everyone's like, what's the best anime? Like, I try not to be super hipster. So I love One Piece, but mostly because of what it means to me and how it like bonded like three of us, like, you know, in post-college, all of us trying to find our footing in adulthood. And Luffy will always be my favorite, because Luffy was always my favorite. One of my friends likes Sanji, one of my friends likes Zoro, and so it was, you know, we just glom onto them. But Luffy's sense of loyalty and how black and white it is. Luffy is a very black and white thinker. And as someone with Asperger's, I also think in black and white. And loyalty is very easy for Luffy. If you are friends and if you have loyalty, that's what it is. Like, someone's in trouble, boom, go help them. It's not a question. Like, it doesn't matter how hard it is. You just do that. And I already struggle with kind of warped views of loyalty. It's why I feel betrayed all the time, because I have really black and white views about loyalty, and so I wouldn't do things that other people do. And it's not disloyal. It's just like, in a black and white world, it feels that way. So how simple Luffy makes it, and that simplicity is something that I wish my life had more of. Now, the show currently, I mean, they spend less time on the characters, which is disappointing. Like, it's just gotten so big that we have fewer of those character moments. I actually prefer Marineford back so far. I really liked. I mean, there are really good moments, but I liked everything overall Marineford and backwards. So I have not yet watched the live show, but I plan to. I've just got to dig myself out of this hole that I am of being very busy. So yeah, so that's where I am. That's it's just, it has some of my favorite villains in fiction, and Luffy is one of my favorite protagonists in basically anything. So it's meant a whole lot to me over the years. And it didn't start out that way, because, you know, it starts out as dumb with, like, freaking Captain Morgan Axe Hand or whatever, and his dumb son Helmeppo. And I loved Kuro. Like, I loved freaking Kuro. I hope they do Kuro right in the live action. I hate Usopp, and all of you people are like, oh, Usopp's amazing. Like, shut up. Like, okay, you like Usopp, that's fine. Shut up. Like, that's okay. Usopp sucks. Usopp sucks. I wish they would do more with Robin. Usopp, Chopper, they don't do anything they're not useful in battle anymore. And that. I mean, you can say, oh, Usopp, no, he doesn't. Like, no, he doesn't. And no, neither does Chopper. Neither does freaking Chopper. He doesn't do anything anymore. And it makes me sad. But yeah. Great moments. Bink sake. Laboon! Whatever. Anyway, I'm just rambling on. But it means a lot to me. I'll probably talk about it more than you've seen, which is none at all. I'd really like my buddy Macen and my brother to come talk about it, because the other thing that I forgot to mention that just reminded me is my brother and I did not speak for 10 years, and it's my fault. I was angry at him for a way I thought he was being, not realizing that, like, after I moved out of the house, bro had a concussion and couldn't remember much of our childhood, so I'm angry at him for not acknowledging crap at our childhood. He didn't remember it. Very dumb. This was during my JIT phase. And one of the things that healed the divide between us is when I decided I wasn't going to hate my brother anymore and tried to make conversation. One of the easiest things for us to talk about was One Piece, because he, separately, like independently from me, watched One Piece. Because we grew up liking the exact same video games, exact same anime and stuff, but we started watching One Piece separately. And so every time we get together, like, my wife goes and talks to his wife because Ryan and I are going to talk One Piece, and he always threatens to spoil stuff for me because I've only finished where the anime is, and I haven't quite caught up where the manga is because I just need to sit down and do it. So this is an anime that literally helped me repair my relationship with my brother, and still helps maintain it. So yeah, it's meant a lot to me. So maybe one day I'll have my brother on to talk about it, or my buddy Macen, or my buddy Matt, and you can see all the crappy characters that are on their team. So anyway, that's all for me for today. I'm trying to be a better person and not hate things just because they're popular. And, other people liking stuff shouldn't ruin my enjoyment of stuff. It does, and I wish it didn't. But there you have it. So, that's all from me for today, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, information about my Patreon and Discord are down in the description, and I'll see you next time, guys.